is right by my size. Because we're actually, Namsai, I'm not quite familiar with the Zoom, because when I broadcast, I use the StreamYard, originating from Canada. So StreamYard everyone can see it. Everyone gets into from the whole world can see when we broadcasting. But Zoom is very particular for those has to be member and connected to. So this is a bit different between StreamYard and Zoom.
I see.
Now I see many people join up. 3 more. All ladies, right? Hello there. So are they all Thai or from elsewhere?
No, so yeah, would you like a short introduction from each of us actually?
Okay. I love
Yeah,
to.
so I'm Cynthia. I helped create and lead the current this project that we have on gender-based violence in Southeast Asia. And we also have one other student, but she's going to join soon. And so each of us is from different backgrounds. I'm from Hong Kong, born and raised in Hong Kong, until coming to college, until coming to Brown University for school. And I'm currently a final year student studying international relations.
Back then, I'd like for you to updating the current situation in US now, after Biden's taking office. Just for a brief knowledge. Can you do me a favor on that?
Yeah, I think it's been it's definitely been perhaps more stable, fewer unpredictable changes in terms of policies. And also just I think from a more personal standpoint in terms of immigration and discrimination against Asian and Asian Americans, I think those have been at least more spoken out against in the administration and supported in the administration, supported as an immigration and support for racial equity. So yeah.
Things seem to be better.
Yeah.
At the beginning, at this moment. Well,
oh, sure,
good to hear that. I also have my niece living in US. My sister married to an American, but she lives in Chicago.
I see.
Well, okay, we will start. So 5, 3, 4 more person now as I have seen on the screen now, right?
Yeah.
Would you give your introduction about yourself?
Starting I can go next.
Okay.
Cynthia just went. I'm Namsai. I'm the one. I'm Kun Jing Chai's granddaughter. Who?
Are you Namsai?
Yeah, I'm Namsai. Huh? So
sorry,
I don't really have a desk in my room. I use my nightstand, but I'm just in my
Okay.
I have a desk set up on my bed.
Are you awake yet? Are you awake now?
Yeah.
Are you awake? Okay, good. All right, I'm sorry.
He once tried to call me at 3 a.m. Our time to talk about this, so it's very confusing because it would be 2 p.m. In Thailand. So thank you so much for coming and for talking to us. It's not that big of a class. It's a group directed independent studies, so it's only 6 people. But we really appreciate you agreeing to talk to us and everything. I'm a senior at Brown studying international relations with a focus on Southeast Asia. And I'm taking this course because it's a part of my requirement because I have to take a class in Southeast Asia, but I'm also very, very interested in the topic. And I'm just really glad that my grandma happened to do work in terms of gender-based violence in the past, but because she did it 20 years ago, she doesn't feel qualified to talk to us about it anymore because she doesn't have updated information. So then she connected us with you, for example, which I really appreciate. Thank you.
It's my great pleasure to do something on your behalf. Because actually, your uncle, right? Ching Chai is your uncle?
He's my grandpa.
Oh, your grandpa. He has requested me on such arrangement for a couple of days ago. And then I said, yes, why not? We'd be happy to introduce the work Minister Pavena has done for over 22 years. You know, whatever position she has held, even without any position, she has done the job completely and dedicatedly to trouble society nowadays. Okay. Now I got you. What your Nam side? What's the name of the lady I was first talking? I thought that you were Nam side. I'm sorry.
Her name is Cynthia.
Oh, Cynthia. Okay. All right. Oh, but you said it. You're the anchor, right? You managed the whole program at this time, right?
Well, I created the gist, but yeah, we all kind of we work together to make this happen. Yeah.
All right. Now, next one. Who will be the next to introduce yourself, please? Who will be the next? Cynthia, you point out. Okay.
I'll introduce myself.
Okay,
Hi,
give me
my
your name,
name is
please.
Lena.
Give me your name, please.
My name is Lena.
Selena. Okay. Where are you from?
I'm a senior at Brown from Fargo, North Dakota. My family's from Vietnam.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Nice to
Vietnam
meet
is
you.
going very, very well in terms of economic growth. Congratulations on that. Okay, good. And who is next?
I can go next. My name is Madhavan, and I am a senior at Brown studying engineering. I was born in Cambodia, but I moved to the US when I was 10. So I'm like 20 now. So half of my life I spent in Cambodia and half in the US.
Okay, that's good. Good to see you. Good talking to you. And one last, right? To introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Hai Ning. I'm a second year student studying anthropology. I'm from Singapore.
Singapore. Okay, very close to Thailand. 1 hour flight. Okay, good. Now, you have any questions? If I can be of your assistance, I would be pleased to answer any questions.
Yeah, if you could just like tell us like what the foundation and the minister has done and like what your work with it, like just present on like your work and yourself first before we like ask any questions. So we don't have anything prepared yet because we have to like
I send you a
learn
CV,
about
my
what you're
CV,
doing
you got
next.
my curriculum vitae, right? My resume, I send you a resume.
I didn't send it to them because it wasn't very like it didn't tell about like the one in Thai told about experiences, but like the one in English was very short and it only said
Alright.
like where you went to school, but they were like schools in Thailand that like
Okay,
and it didn't say like it didn't talk about your work
Okay.
or your published works because it was like shorter.
okay.
But
So
if you could just like go over like the Pavena Foundation and just like your work with it and like what the goal of the foundation is. He wanted to play a video explaining what the foundation was, but it doesn't work well over Zoom. There's always a lag over Zoom if like a video is played. So like I
that's
figured we
not-
shouldn't do it.
that would not be a problem. But let me just give you a brief look on Pavena Foundation. Pavena Foundation was the chairman, of course, the former minister Pavena Bongsakull. She is the sisters of the Miss First Thai Universe, Apasara School. You probably have heard about this. Okay, was established officially established in 1999, which is 22 years back. She was very much involved in helping rescue people, those underprivileged and those being taken advantage of, those victims in forced prostitution, sexual harassment, being held as hostage, to sell the body, to pay off their debts. They set aside this. Let me tell you about debts. Actually, may not be a debt. Let's say if this girl was lured into prostitution in some other ways, and she must have the owing amount, let's say 200,000 baht, for instance, the pimps will tell them, you have a debt, 200,000 baht. You have to sell off the body until the whole debt was paid off. This is what they're doing to treat the ladies who was forced to sell body, who was forced into prostitution. Then Pavena Foundation was then, whenever did she get reported, she will make the contact directly to any district police units to handle, together with her teams, into the brother house unintentionally, without any information, without any inform those brother house, because she want to attack this brother house effectively without letting them know first. Because if they know first, they would send back the lady to elsewhere. And once you get into brother house, there'll be nobody left. This is why she have to keep a secret with the police units. She must trust whoever she work with the police units force to help these victims out of the brother house. This is a case, okay? Otherwise, this prostitution will be there maybe forever, because the pimps will tell them the debts hasn't been paid off at certain amount yet. She has to work where she works have day after day to maintain, to pay off debts, and being prostituted maybe for lifetime, if without her any rescues from Pavena Foundation. And those who come to Pavena Foundation with a high hope that assistance, she will get assistance right immediately. Because if she has called the police units without Pavena cooperation, coordination efforts, she probably don't get attention whatsoever. But once Pavena was reported by those victims or those relatives of victims, she would call by herself directly to any police unit, task force, in a district or local police unit to handle the case with her, together with her Pavena teams, to get into the brother house and rescue those out of brother house safely. And once they bring out of the brother house, these ladies will be stay in a safe house or a temporary accommodation until the judging process has been effective, that this girl will be free and no more debts is attached to her any longer, even with the parents. So she'll be free. She'll be free, absolutely free from debts, and don't have to get back to any prostitute life any longer. Do you understand my points when I explain to you this? Any further questions I can explain to you? No, you got my point?
Could you tell us? Yeah, but I was wondering if you could tell us like more about your involvement, like with the organization, like when you got
I'm involved
involved.
because I'm in the social media. I have been media and media business for over 20 years. Since I've known Pavena, I was in the media. I was the TV anchorage right before I become the TV moderators and on our program. Two programs that I sent it to you. And those will be offline on channel 5, channel 3. And then now I'm doing the media online, which is from broadcasted through Facebook and YouTube, live every Friday. This is my career. And I also attached to any political career because I used to be many former advisor to many different ministers at different ministries from time to time. So this is my career. Once, sometimes in politics, and sometimes I do my own business as a business ownership. And I know Kun Pavena, I have known her for, as I said, over 20 years. And I know her dedication to public without any assistance from the government side. Is at which is she always asks for the government support by funding or any sort of an assistance, but rarely happen from the government. And this is why people will come to Pavena for immediate assistance once they become victims. Or if she can't come herself, she would ask her relatives to report the case and let Pavena Foundation to handle the rest. And it will be very productive if Pavena Foundation has stepped in and handled the case on behalf of those victims. Particularly, we mainly on women and children. For those underprivileged, for those who have any access for a better system, they will come to Pavena Foundation. This is why Pavena Foundation has become very famous issue, not only in Thailand, but also abroad.
Thank you for sharing. I have a question.
Okay.
I'm wondering how the organization has changed during COVID, or can you share more about the steps of your work in managing it with COVID?
As you may know that the COVID-19 is not as serious in Thailand as it is in the US. You realize that because the infected person is about 10,000, something like that. Is as compared in America, we have to forget about that figure. Okay, so the COVID-19 alone is not a serious problem in Thailand, and we are now receiving the vaccine from China, from AstraZeneca from Oxford, collaborating with the Siam Bioscience in Thailand, and even from Pfizer from US, which is, I heard from my relatives in US that they all have the vaccines from Pfizer, over 100 million doses so far, right? Is that correct? And you probably have one now. Is any one of you have a vaccine by now from Pfizer?
I have Johnson and Johnson.
I have
Johnson
Moderna.
does it.
I have Moderna too.
So you'll be safe by now, right? But they have to take two doses, right? 2 doses to make sure that everything will be in good shape. Is that correct? So under COVID-19's answering your questions, I don't think will be a serious problems in Thailand that far. But still, economic progress, economic growth is a huge and larger problems in Thailand because I think we have hard problems dealing with economic crisis. I think it's more crucial than COVID-19 because then economic downturn in Thailand is a very serious problem. And we have the uncertain political situation. And this is why I make it worse. I have to say to you, frankly speaking, is that way. Okay. COVID-19 is presumably under control.
Thanks so much for presenting and talking to us about your work. When you mentioned that you do a lot of work in social media, I'm really curious about what you think is the most challenging part to inform others about the work of the Pavena Foundation in social media.
When I have a meeting with the other agents from the medias, I also say that Pavena Foundation was badly in need of financial support because now she's running her own financial. But thanks God that she has fruitful financial support from her own family. She has a good business to run, but still, over 150,000 cases throughout 22 years in terms of the Pavena Foundation. 150,000 cases has demanded such a huge amount of money. No matter how much she has, but still, we need strong support from the government. In terms of funding, because no matter how rich you are, the funding from the government side is much more bigger and much more important. And this is what we need. But now she has done an excellent job dealing with the problems and with the victims who, for those who come to report the cases to Pavena Foundation, at her most maximum effort, at her own dedication, not only financial, but a strong will in terms of physical assistance, because she has to use a lot of credibility of her herself to contacts, to deal with police task force, any police unit throughout Thailand, nationwide. She can make a fruitful contact and make to gain the immediate assistance to those victims who needs it back. Because, for instance, if these victims walk into police station by herself or by himself, she or he may not get immediate assistance or immediate attention to help relieve their own problems. But if she reports to Pavena Foundation, she will be the middle lady to contact police unit task force and to take action right immediately. This is how different and how effective people believe in Pavena Foundation. For the past 22 years and the present, she has done for the Thai community throughout Thailand, not just in Bangkok, but throughout Thailand. Even, let me tell you, I used to go with her in Malaysia. She has to contact the hate police forces in Malaysia to relieve, to help the victims of those who forced into brother house from Thailand, about 20 ladies. She has contacted herself when she was, thanks God, she was a minister at that time. And then she get immediate attention from the head of police forces in Malaysia to handle the case together with her. Ran into the brother house with full weapons and without immediate, without any leaking information to the brother house. That's why she can help those victims quite effectively. And now they are back in Thailand safely. This is, for instance, not just Malaysia. If I told you further, believe it or not, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, in many African countries, even in Germany, Thai people was lured into prostitution without maybe not a volunteer basis, but she was lured into, or either lured into or forced into prostitution once they landed in such countries I mentioned.
I have a question about so just like about after the braids and stuff, like is there a rehabilitation process or like yeah, right, but like after the victims, like do you have any like way to provide them like with livelihoods or like set them up for the rest of their lives if they're no longer, because like some people like in terms of trafficking like could spend like their own like entire like lives in trafficking or in the industry. So when they come out, like, do you have any like rehabilitation programs to like set them up like with work, or like how do you make sure that they, one, don't fall victim to trafficking again or sex work, like for sex work again, and two, how do you make sure that they can like go on like living like fruitful lives within Thai society? Because like there is like, you know, like we learned, our professor for this course who isn't here right now, she like works about like, she works on like human trafficking, and like one of the things that she focuses on is like the fact that like people who come out of human trafficking and sex work a lot of the times like don't have livelihoods that like afterwards, like there's like they don't work instead of like the rehabilitation programs don't work and they have to go back into sex work to support themselves. How do you ensure that that doesn't happen? Like what are like the systems that the Pavena Foundation has set up to ensure that the people that they rescue
go back
actually, yeah, well, don't go back, but also like how do you set them up for life after?
Well, to answer your questions, from my own viewpoints and from my own experience that I have worked with Pavena for a number of years. Once she saved these ladies, women and ladies, and children, even child abuse, she was then need to stay in the safe house as the temporary accommodation, as shown on the video presentation as I sent it to you, for a number of period of times until the social, until the process of a judgment has been fulfilled. And once he was released from such penalties, whatever, from fears, she has to find her a job, a certain job, a proper job to make a living. Otherwise, these people will go back, either go back voluntarily or go back or forced to go back into prostitution again. So this is why they have to provide her a job and find something else to do. In Pavena Foundation, there's a lot of work to do to help relieve others. In other, just like you pay back to society, once you get relief, once you get rescue from a brother house or any unwilling places, these people, this lady also willing to help the others who was having some sort of her own experience, living in the brother house. They will help each other, one after the other, generation to a generation after generation. You got my points?
Thank you so much.
And there's another things I have to mention. Pavena has been trying very hard to amend the law of 45 days in custody for those victims. Once we have relieved her, put her out of the unwilling places of brother house, they only have 45 days to remedy the situation or to rehabilitation program, which is too short. And she said, it must take a year or two to recover such a hard feeling in terms of rehabilitation herself and put her back in a proper job. This is also should take another 1 or 2 years, not just 45 days, because 45 days is too short. So they try very hard to amend the law of 45 days detention should be another 1 or 2 years to make sure that these who in the process of the rehabilitation process will be, they will live their life more freely and more openly, more properly, without having to go back to such a evil presence, I would say. Okay, brother house. Any more questions? I haven't heard any questions from the other twos.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're from
Thank you.
Cambodia, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
All right.
Yes, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I guess my question is like, how do you think the with Pavena's foundations, like all these efforts to like help a lot of these like women or maybe men and children, like how do you think like the attitude towards the issue have like changed over the year since the foundation has been like active for like 20 years already? Like how do you think it has like kind of like changed in like Thai society? And I'm assuming the Pavena foundations are doing work to like advocate for them to bring this issue to like more for so that more people can like notice it, and I wonder how that has changed over the years.
Can you make it that sort of a very brief questions? I think it's a pretty broad. I want to know exactly what you really need to know.
Like how has it changed throughout the year? Like
What
as
change?
in like how have like maybe like are there like laws in Thai like
Oh,
did your advocacy work lead to like maybe change in laws and stuff like that? And what are those kind of like specific like laws like on like a larger scale?
we have to wait until the member of parliament to brought up the certain issues. So but takes time. It takes time to get the law amended. In terms of 45 years to a year or two, right? Is that what your question is?
Well, I mean more like what specific part of the law did you advocate, the Pavena Foundation advocate for, I guess?
At the moment, Pavena was not a member of parliament. It would be more difficult to pass or to amend the law such as we want it to be. So we must use the member of parliament or other MPs to deliver such law for effective amendment. And if she doesn't do on her own, it will be very difficult. But that's the problem we have to mention. We have to raise up the problems. We must amend the law to detain over 1 or 2 years to make sure that we fully recover from those bad feelings, bad mentalities. Because these people may live up in the brother house for a number of years. And once they were rescued, it would take their times. And I don't know whether the problem is, how bad is your problem in terms of drug addiction in US. But in Thailand, drugs addiction is more serious and serious. And it creates a lot of problems. Prostitution, ransack, rape, whatever, it most likely comes from drug use or drug addiction. And this drug retailer usually was forced into retailing drugs because they offer the kids, 10, 12 years, 13 years to test on drugs. And once they get addicted, they were forced to do it. They must do everything. What is it, tycoon? What do you call the drug head? The drug
Like a
business,
drug lord?
the drugman, the drug.
Drug lord. Maybe.
Whatever. I haven't used that word for a long time, but that's become a problem of Thai children so far. Once they get try on drugs and they become addicted, and later they were forced to be a drug retailer. In many slum dwellers in many communities. This is a problem. And Pavena Foundations has been very much for it and talked to the government's body for several times. She has a chance to. I don't know how serious in US. I think it's quite serious too in US, right? Because they have a drug trafficking unit. What is it? Drug? I forgot now. What do you call the drug association to the drug police task force? D something? You know what it is? Anyone can tell me. The drugs police task force in US. What do you call it?
The
That's
DEA.
Yeah, drugs enforcement agency. Right. That's it. Just like that. This is what we need to handle this case more effectively. Particularly, we have to get rid of the since they were kids to get addicted to any whatever ice, heroin, many of drugs. Because I'm not in this line, so I don't know much about this. But I know that's the core problems leading to many serious problems in Thai community, particularly on those underprivileged, for those poor community. They will be easy to be cheated into this kind of this kind of mess. Well, am I answering your questions?
Yes, thank you.
I'd be pleased if to make it clear or whatever.
Oh, sorry, was that come again?
Okay. Anyone who hasn't asked any questions? Is there anyone else?
Yeah, so I have a
Go ahead.
question, like just because you mentioned that there were some challenges to running the Pavena Foundation, like sometimes there's like fundraising and sometimes there's like a lack of money and things like that. So I was wondering like how you make, like how the foundation makes like its operations sustainable, like how does it make sure that it can continue like running the services that it does?
We have luckily, we are quite fortunate that we were known to business tycoon, some business tycoon who really appreciate Khun Pavena for what she has done for over 20 years. And many of them will like to make a donation voluntarily. And this is how we can stay alive in the foundation, because we got the donation from many business tycoon and from those who really appreciate the Pavena Foundation in terms of assisting many victims out of evil things. I would say evil things. Okay, not just rotten house. Those underprivileged, those being taken advantage of, and even in the fishing man, there will be they could have a sexual harassment, because nowadays you have to understand that not just between men and women. You probably have heard of the LGBT, right? LBGT, homosexual and lesbian and gay, whatever. So this fishing trawler could have faced the same kind of sexual harassment. Even he's a boy or he's a man, he could be facing the same kind of sexual harassment or prostitution, men prostitution, whatever. What do you ask again? Tell me again. If I answer the questions in full. You have any further questions attaching to the question you have raised up now? Your name again? What is your name? It isn't show on the screen. What is your name now?
Wait, sorry.
What is your name?
Sorry.
We have your name.
I'm Haining.
Heini.
I'm Haining. Yeah.
From Singapore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
We are neighboring countries, huh? Singapore.
Yeah.
We are close. So, if you related, let me ask you back. If you relate to a neighboring country, Singapore and Thailand, what do you see the difference between culture and social activities we can learn from each other?
Yeah. I think like as a student, it's like you can see that I think the students and like the youth in Thailand are probably more active in like maybe in like democracy movements or like just like pushing for more things as opposed to like the university students in Singapore. So I think that yeah, that kind of being more passionate and being more involved in social causes is something that I think can be learned.
Your country is one of the safest place on earth. Very stable. I recognize it. I've been to Singapore quite many times because we are very near. We're 1 hour flight. But this is a problem of COVID-19 that keep us from traveling to one another. Answering your question, this is a real problem of COVID-19, preventing us from traveling abroad. This is a whole problem. And it affected very bad problems in terms of economic crisis because Thailand is mainly rely on tourism industry. For your knowledge, we usually have income from tourism industries. I would say about 20% of our GDP. That's the contribution from tourism industry. Now we nearly zero. This is a problem of COVID-19, tourism. I think every other countries has been facing the same kinds of problems. Is that right? And we all cannot travel to one another because of the COVID-19. But thanks God that we have some sort of social media. Otherwise, we all be shut down for everything. We cannot see each other. We cannot do anything. Thanks God that we have a very effective social media presently. That's how we can, at least we can see each other. We can communicate, even by picture, not in physically, but still, it's good enough. The tourism industry, the aviation industry is nearly complete. It's almost completely out of the business at the time being. Okay. I'm sorry. Is anything else I can answer your questions?
I actually, if other people don't have any more questions, our class ends in 3 minutes anyway. It's short classes. It's 50
Okay.
minute classes. So we just want to we could also just end here, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Like it's 8 p.m. in Thailand right now, well 9 p.m. now, and like we all really appreciate you talking to us. This has been such an insightful conversation, and we're just very thankful for all that you do, and just so happy that you got to share all of your experiences with us. Like we really appreciate it.
And I said,
ขอบคุณนะคะ
as I said, many of great pleasure to meet all of you, and at least to talk to each other, letting you know what happened to Pavena Foundation and what we have done in terms of contributing to Thai societies. Even be a small organization, at least we can do something to get a certain number of persons in need of bad assistance. Okay, and what do I, Cynthia? What do you have any questions? You are the moderators now. I feel like.
Yeah, so far I think when you just mentioned tourism and how COVID has affected that, it also made me think of how that probably has affected sex tourism as well, and the large impacts that may have in terms of possibilities of prostitutes and victims of prostitution and reporting that. Like just a final follow-up, like do you think as a result of a reduction in perhaps the demand for prostitution, at least international sex tourism, do you think that may have like increased the likelihood of victims to report, or has like no significance of a change?
I think prostitution mainly is associated with economic crisis, economic downturns of in such country. For instance, in Thailand, it goes along as economic downturn or economic upturn. If the economic downturn, there will be more prostitution because people are living in poverty and they have to find ways to survive. And those are voluntary prostitution. Okay. Still, because they have number of persons to look after, the parents, the children, their brother, sister. Some of them, one prostitution has to feed the whole family. Very significant matters to deal with the problems, the poor problems, the poor society, the poor family. This is a problem because as you may notice, as long as the economy is going down, the bad business, the prostitution will be raised because they don't need to be hungry. They need money to look after their own self or children or family or parents. This is the way it happens in any other countries. I think any economic crisis is the major indicator for those problems that will be existing or not. I don't know whether you agree or not, but I think this is what happened in Thailand. Political uncertainty also be a big problem, which destroy the economic progress. Like, I don't want to mention much about Myanmar. It's happened as well. This is whatever I would say. This is like American Eden. This is the way it goes. You got my point, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's also true like in many other countries too, like where there's economic downturn, the informal economy and illegal activities are definitely like going to attract and pull a lot more victims of economic downturn as well.
Sydney, are you from China? You from China? I see the flag.
Yes, I'm from Hong Kong. Yeah.
Oh, you're Hong Kong. But
Yeah.
but you know, I don't know whether I should say, but I do admire China. It's the only country has the GDP growth 6 to 7% this year, and constantly growth. And this is very capable.
Mm,
This is how I look at China.
absolutely. Yeah.
The leadership is quite important. And what is the situation in Hong Kong right now? Can you share us?
In terms of COVID or like.
No, the political situation,
Yeah.
political point of view.
I'd say there's been more since the protests, at least, and COVID. There has been more like arrests of political activists and like so-called like political deviants in Hong Kong. So there have a lot of them have been leaving to the UK, to the US. But yeah, there have been like a lot of more quiet arrests. Yeah.
But you stay in US, it's quite more pleasant, right?
Yeah.
Your family also there too? Your family
My
also?
family's in Hong Kong. So
I see.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the information you all share with me. And I'll be pleased to talk to you anytime. Nam Sai, just give me a call whenever you have something special to discuss. And I'll be pleased to talk to you all and nice meeting you all. And we share the same word. All right?
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you,
ขอบคุณนะ
sir.
คะ
สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
This is Thai culture. Why?
Yes.
Okay, good talking to you. Nice meeting you all. Have a good day.
Thank you
Have a
so
good night.
much.
It is a
Thank
daytime,
you.
right?
It's
Yeah.
daytime, yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.